Okay, so you probably hear my son in the background. He's just been a little noisemaker. Trying not to let it drive me crazy, but what can I do? Yeah, he was like ripping up my prayer flags last night and started chewing on one of them, and I'm like, "What are you chewing on?" Because I don't have, you know, food just in my room or whatever. He comes out of my room. I'm on the computer in the kitchen, and I got all the baby gates up and the other, the craft room doors locked, and so I'm, my room's right across the hall, so I can see in there. So, but the prayer flag's back a little bit out of the doorway, so I can't see that he ripped off. So now I gotta like, you can probably hear him. Like, now I gotta like put it up higher and like fold it in half so to fix it, because it's like one missing right out of the center. So it's like, and he was chewing on it. I'm just like, oh man. And just like climbing all over my body, and it's just like sore and itchy and rashy, and like got all these little bruises from being a jungle gym, because he's 4.5, and what are you gonna do? So I went on a long walk yesterday. Didn't even want to bother with the bus or anything, and no gang stalkers. Not that I noticed. No obvious. I tried not to. I just tried to be positive and not even look around or anything. But I had my phones, and just in case I had to record anyone, because of the last time, or the only time really that I noticed someone doing that, it was so obvious. I'm just like, now, because usually when I go on a walk, I don't bring my phone. But with all the chemtrails and the helicopters and all this, it's like, now I keep my phones with me, both of them actually. But I'm just kind of perturbed because of all the chemtrails today. I just want to sit out in my backyard and enjoy the sunshine and the fresh air. And my body is just really irritated, and my son just wants to climb all over me and have fun and jump around, and that, that's normal, right? But I just don't even want to be touched. I don't want to be climbed on. I don't want to be sprayed to death with these chemtrails anymore. They were spraying yesterday too. They gave me a break for about a week, or just, this is a small little town, for how much they spray. It's pretty ridiculous. So I just don't even want to show my face or anything, but I'm doing it. So yesterday they were spraying quite a bit too, but it was more like downtown, like on that side of town, not like over my house and stuff. But today it's just all over the sky. Starts off clear, and then and it's very interesting because I get up at different times depending on what time I go to bed. It was like, I got up at 8 something this morning. Yesterday I didn't get up till almost 2 in the afternoon, because I'm like, my son was sleeping in, so I'm like, I'm sleeping in. I got up before him even. So, because we went to bed at like 3 in the morning. We just go to sleep when we're tired, whatever. So, but it seems like no matter what time I get up, that's when I start hearing the planes. Like, so this morning I get up, it's like, I'm having my coffee. It's, 10 minutes to 9 or whatever, 8 something. So it seems like as soon as I start getting up and stirring around, getting my coffee together, I start hearing all the planes. And it's happened enough times to where it's like, just like the other day, they didn't start flying around till I got up and started moving around. And same again this morning. It's like they're on my schedule. Like whenever I get up and start moving around, then they start moving around and spraying and flying around. There were a few days there where there were like no planes really, let alone chemtrails. But then last couple days, lots of planes, chemtrails again. You know, I'm annoyed with my neighbors for eating my birthday present, and so I mentioned that in another video. So, you know, I'm going to go through the whole, I'm going to ask my dad's friend again to, yeah, send me the receipt for that, give me the tracking number, because I'm going to report it to the post office, because this is the second time they opened my package. I'm tired of people being disrespectful to me. They think I'm just some piece of shit they can just treat however they want, including my landlord. Again, she comes by unannounced and drops off a bag of salt, okay, like for the snow or whatever. But she made it perfectly clear when she didn't want to lower the deposit amount that, you know, she's not my friend, she's not my mother. But then she was like, it took me a while to get angry, you know, when she dropped off the bag of salt, she just texted me, oh, I dropped off a bag of salt, it's on your porch. I'm like, oh, okay, great, thanks. But then it's been bugging me, so today I sent her a text, so please give me a 24-hour notice. Okay? Let's keep it professional. You know, I said, you know, in the future, just make sure you get a hold of me at least. She didn't get a hold of me. She just came by and did that and then texted me, I just dropped a bag of salt off, you know, the rock salt for snow or whatever. Okay, so I just dropped off a bag of salt on the porch. So I just texted her today. I'm like, you know, make sure, you know, to give me a 24-hour notice. I appreciate the salt, but I didn't ask, you know, just, you know, I never asked for it. And she texts me back, oh, Gretchen, that was weeks ago. And so I text back, I know. That's not the point. See how people try to skate responsibility and they contradict themselves and they're hypocrite. I'm tired of people's fucking dishonesty. I'm fucking sick of it. And it must be this new moon in Aquarius, because it all just started coming up today. Like, I'm just fucking sick of everyone's shit. My son's not listening to me. My landlord doesn't have any respect for me. Why? Because I'm on welfare? Just a fucking poor, broke bitch piece of shit? Yeah. Well, if the government wants to infect me with Morgellons and make me sick, then good, they can pay my bills. I have no problem with that whatsoever. And they're going to give me disability and all that shit. Good. I get $550, not even that, around few bucks less than that, $540 something. And I live way below my means. That's why I can always have money in the bank, and my bills are paid in full on time. You know, I don't even take the bus. I'll walk. Okay? And when I do have to buy stuff, it's stuff that's necessary. Cleaning products, toilet paper, diapers, okay? Bills that are outrageous in the summer here. I gotta pay the PG&E assessor myself out of pocket to have them come, because they won't replace appliances and stuff to make them more, you know, lower your bill. Things that are more energy efficient. Because I have a gas stove, I have a gas heater, everything, and it's expensive. And this is an old Victorian house. It's cold. Okay, my landlord, that bag of salt thing, that was just for liability. Okay, because she just cares about money. So that's fine. You get your rent. You know, I respect the rules. You need to respect the rules. You need to give me a 24-hour notice. Okay? Yes, she owns the house, but I live here. This is my home. I live here. I know I don't own it. I'm not fucking brain dead. I know what's what and who's who. She owns the house. But I live here. This is my home where I live. And I take care of everything. I keep everything nice. I respect her rules. No smoking, no pets, no, okay? None of the utilities are included in the rent. And the water bill's like 120 something every 2 months. I pay, I split the internet and garbage with my neighbor upstairs, but you know, when the bill gets high in the winter, he still only pays $80, and then it goes down to like, you know, 60 in the summertime or whatever. But you know, he's just a single guy. I'm the one running the heater all day every day because it's freezing in here. Even when it's warmer outside, it's just a cold Victorian house, and it's like up off the ground, big staircase, you know, so it stays all cold, dank, and damp underneath, and just that cold air just keeps everything super cold. And because the underneath of the house never gets sun, and it's just always in the shade, and it's always like moist under there. And anyway, it's an old, cold house. And I have a son who constantly takes his clothes off. He's special needs, so like I gotta put button-up shirts on him that he can't get off. So at least he's wearing a shirt. 3 layers, actually, 3 shirts, because he keeps taking his pants off, and I can't just have my whole day be putting my son's pants on. So I got to make sure that it's you know, if it was summertime, that's one thing. He doesn't have to wear any clothes. But as you can hear, like if you hear him in the background, it's just constant, you know. But what am I supposed to do? He doesn't understand. So sometimes I just gotta lock myself in the room, shut the door. Like when I take a bath, just shut the door. Like I can't go crazy, you know. I gotta maintain because it's only me here. So it's like my neighbors are fucking pissing me off, and then my landlord's pissing me off because you know, when she texted back, "Oh, Gretchen. First of all, why does she need to use my name? I know you're texting me. Yeah, hello, I'm Gretchen. Why do you need to say Gretchen? Because that's when people want to start having an attitude with you. They start using your name." So she says, "Oh, that was weeks ago." See, she avoided the point that... So I texted back, "Why don't you respect me? Or why can't you respect me? Or why can't or why don't? But anyway, why don't you respect me?" Because bottom line, it just really just hurts my feelings, because I don't think I'm better than anybody. And I don't think I'm worse than anybody either. I'm not better than anybody, and nobody's better than me. I don't let people take my power away and think they can treat certain people that they have respect for a certain way because they have a job or whatever, or they're married or what. No. I'll give the same amount of respect to some meth head on the street as I would to our president. Because I try to ask myself in every situation, unless I'm getting caught up in ego, I'm emotional, I'm in the flesh, okay? But I always ask myself, what would Jesus do in this situation? Well, he surely wouldn't curse as much as I do, but you know, I don't think I'm better than anyone. And I don't think anyone's better than me. And I don't give my power away and let people double talk me and lie and be dishonest and say they're doing it for this reason. But no. You made it perfectly clear. You're not my mother. You're not my friend. So don't. And she already did this with some pruning shears, because I'm responsible for the gardening and everything too. Okay. Because she did lower the rent a couple $100 so that I would qualify, because I get Section 8, which is housing assistance, and I do have a rental share. I pay all my own bills, and I have, you know. So, yeah, it's government money, but good. They should foot the bill. They're the ones making me so sick that I can't work. Okay, so... But I do work. I'm a stay-at-home mom, and I'm run ragged just taking care of my child and trying to heal myself because, you know... Morgellons isn't even recognized as a disease, so... You know, so I texted her back. I said, "You've made it perfectly clear in the past that you're not my friend and you're not my mother, so let's keep it professional. And you got me the salt for liability reasons. I understand that." And I said, "I've slipped in a grocery store It was Lucky's, actually. One of their refrigerator units was leaking, and there was water all over a slick cement floor. Unbeknownst to me, I didn't see it because it was water. It was clear. And I was wearing flip-flops. And I slipped down, luckily forward and not backward, and hit my head. I slipped forward and fell on my knee. And it hurt real bad. And all I did was go tell one of the checkers or whatever at the front that was leaking to go clean it up, because I just slipped and tripped, and you're lucky it was me and not someone who's sue happy, because I don't sue. I never have. And I fell in same thing happened to me at a Costco. There was some lotion on the floor. And I think I was wearing flip-flops that time too. So I don't wear flip-flops in the grocery store anymore. Because they have those slick cement floors, the finished, slick, slippery cement floors. If there's anything on them, you just flip. I think that time I fell on my knee as well. Probably, I think the same knee. And hurt real bad. Didn't go to the hospital, nothing like that. I just said, I think I'll be fine, but you guys might want to go clean that up before somebody else, maybe an old lady could have broken something if they slipped and fell. See, because I don't need to be a vengeful person and sue, even when I'm entitled to. I'm not going to do that. If I need money, God will provide. I have faith in God. I don't need to go around suing people, even if it is their fault. Oh, and I also slipped out in an apartment complex that I used to live at, because they had this water faucet that was maladjusted, and it would spray way over the little encatchment, where the water is supposed to drain into. And so there was water all over the floor. Again, I couldn't see it. I slipped, fell on my knee. Luckily, I keep falling forward instead of backward, and, luckily not hitting my head. It's just falling down on my right knee. Okay? So that's happened several times. All I did was report it, say, hey, you might want to adjust the water fountain, because I just slipped and fell because all the water, because I've used that water fountain before, and I could see how far over it was spraying outside of the thing. So, and she's the type that because you can legally raise the rent a certain amount after a certain amount of time. And so she's already done that. Whenever she can legally raise the rent, whenever that date comes around, and whatever the maximum amount she can raise the rent to be, she'll do that. And I understand she wants to get it back up to what she originally was asking, which was a couple $100 more than, because she had to lower the rent for me to qualify. They wouldn't pay that much, blah, blah, blah. And I'm appreciative. I have a 3-bedroom house all to myself. I got my neighbor upstairs. It's in the studio, attic that's converted into a studio apartment. But I have a 3-bedroom house all to myself. But they do everything real cheaply, some people don't understand the concept of time and your energy being worth more than just money. So, I understand they did a lot of the stuff themselves. They put in new carpet. But, this house must have looked funky as shit, because, the old wallpaper, they just painted over it, and it's peeling off in a couple, whatever. But I'm Capricorn. I have attention to detail, and I like things nice, and it starts falling apart a little bit, and then pretty soon you have a mold problem and all kinds of shit. So I'm on top of it. If something's leaking, I tell them right away. The whole floor was starting to bubble up. I'm like, but they want to have rinky-dink this and rinky-dink that. She's even told me, thank you, Gretchen. Thank you so much for caring about our house as if it was your own. And it's like, it is my own. I don't own it, but I live here. It is my own home. I live here. It is my home. I know I don't own it, but who really owns anything? And possession is 9/10 of the law, whatever. But it's just, I have respect. And I know who owns this house, but I know who lives here and is trying to make a life here and trying to heal. And I just want respect. I'm not saying I want people... No, I'm just saying the basic respect of not disrespecting me. You know, she gets her rent. She raises it as much as she can, as often as she can, and she's probably going to surpass the amount she was originally asking for. I don't know. I don't want to project, but I'm sure, because I know people who care more about money than they do about people. And I care more about people than I do about money. But I'm not going to expect someone to be like me. But I'm also not going to think I'm better than them because they're not awakened to a certain level of consciousness either. I might get frustrated. I might yell, curse a little bit. But that's just getting fed up with shit. That's not thinking you're better than anyone. You know, you can only handle so much sometimes, you know, and it's just like, I think it's that new moon in Aquarius energy of that water bear bringing the knowledge, the truth, the enlightenment, that high consciousness level, that high level of spirituality. And I don't like people thinking they can step on me or disrespect me, or, you know, it's not okay for me to break rules, which I don't want to. I follow the rules. I respect the law, even though I may not agree with a lot of the laws that they have, but I still respect them. I respect police officers. I respect my landlord. I respect I respect. Now, you don't have to respect me, but you're sure as hell not going to disrespect me. You know, and the reason why I'm so frustrated with the neighbors opening my package, because that was the second time they did it. And same with my landlord. That was not the first time she just came over unannounced. You know, dealing with chronic fatigue, I turn my phone off a lot. I don't want any disturbances. So when I lay down to rest, that's why I put a gate on my porch too, because I had people knocking on my door, the Jehovah's Witnesses, blah, blah, blah. And I go right about to fall asleep, taking a nap, resting, and I get a knock at the door. So now they can't knock at the door because I have a little gate across the top of my top of the stairs on my porch. So this wasn't the first time she came by unannounced. You know, and her husband's a contractor, but they do everything just cheap. You know, the paint job's already falling off after one winter. Because I moved in a year and a half ago, so they painted right before I moved in last year. So it's only been through, this is the second winter. But it was already peeling off before this winter came around. Because they wanted to do all the work themselves, and they did it cheap and shoddy, and, you know, the cheapest carpet they could get, that's like plastic, whatever, you know. Paint over the wallpaper instead of taking off the old falling down wallpaper, you know. Whatever, it's fine, you know, but a lot of people just want things to look good, but it's like underneath it's falling apart. And they did all the painting themselves with real cheap-ass paint. They didn't sand and prime and get a good quality paint and, like, seal the wood and paint. No, they just slapped on some cheap-ass... And you can see, because where it's peeling off, it's just like the old wood, not sanded, not primed. Good, then the house that you own, like, you know, is going to be falling apart. You know, and a lot of people are prejudiced against people who have Section 8, but then there are people who are like, oh, well, if we'll have a long-term tenant then. Which is exactly why she chose me, probably. She probably didn't give a fuck. You know, she's like, ooh, long-term, that's what we want, instead of people coming in and out. And yeah, because then you don't have any breaks in the rent. You know, if someone just signs a lease for 6 months or even a year, you know, even if they give a 30-day notice, that doesn't mean you're going to have it rented out right away. And you can go months without having a tenant. You know, I'm like, I don't even want to move again. You'll have a long-term tenant. You know? She knows I'm a good tenant. She even said, oh, good, yay, another angel tenant, because the one upstairs, he was never even here, but he didn't have good energy. But I prayed for the one I have now. I said, give me a male because another female, just they're gonna want to do the backyard the way they want to do it, and probably I was just like, please just have it be a male so I don't have to deal with anyone trying to like talk to me about anything, and I can just have the yard do it the way I want, which I don't even have any energy to do. And now that they're spraying chemtrails everywhere, I'm like, I don't think I'm gonna have a garden. And I don't have the energy for it anyway. But I said, I was so specific. I said a male Cancer, because I'm Capricorn and my moon's Cancer, but I get along with Cancers because I'm Capricorn. I said a male Cancer nurse would be nice. Someone in the medical field. And perhaps someone who has some kind of health issues themselves so they can understand what I'm going through. Well, he's going through chemo right now. He has a blood disorder. And I don't really know all the details, and it's not really my business, but what he does choose to share with me. So he's going through chemo right now, and he just he's a male. He's a Cancer, and he's an RN. So God does answer your prayers, and the more specific you are, the more specific you'll get. So it's very important when you do pray to be as specific as you possibly can, because it makes it easier to answer those prayers. If you're vague about it and you're like, I don't know what to do, please God help me. They don't know what to do with that. They're like, man, I really want to help this person, but I don't know what they need help with. I don't know how to help them because they're not telling me what's wrong and how I can help them. So be as specific as possible when it comes to your prayers. And which is how I got this place in the first place. When I first started looking, it was available, but I guess she had rented it out, and 6 months later it was available again. And these are tenants that like cut a hole in the front door to put a mail slot in, and they had to put like a metal plate over it, and they never even put in a mail slot. It's like, I won't even put up a baby gate that screws into the wall. Like, I have my landlord do everything, because I don't want to be responsible if something goes wrong. And I'm grateful he doesn't have to put up baby gates for me, but he understands that I'm respectful of this home. I don't want to drill one screw in for the shower rod. I have a curved shower rod that I wanted to put up. He put that up for me. He put my baby gates up for me, the gate on the front porch. I don't want to do any repairs. I'm going to buy a low flow toilet. I'm going to get the appliances replaced through the PG&E program that they have to for energy efficiency, and get a electric heater and air conditioner unit, get an electric stove, hopefully, perhaps a more energy efficient refrigerator. They're not high tech or anything, but I don't need a huge refrigerator. I don't have a lot of food, so might as well get a smaller one that's more energy efficient. I prefer a gas stove as like a chef, but I don't even have the energy to cook like I used to, so I don't need a gas stove. Electric will be fine. And that unit, the gas heater / air conditioning unit, is like a dinosaur. I mean, just by the looks of it, you're just like, oh my God, how old is that thing? So I'm just kind of going off, but I'm kind of upset today because I just wanted to sit out in my backyard, and they're, as soon as I get up, doesn't matter what time, if it's 8 in the morning or 2 in the afternoon, as soon as I get up, I start hearing planes, and I didn't hear it before. As soon as I get up and start stirring around, no matter what time it is, then I start hearing a bunch of planes. And I'm grateful for that break that we did have for about maybe almost a week. And then on Christmas Day, they didn't spray at all, which was awesome. I don't even think there were any planes in the sky. That's the night that I saw those 2 shooting stars. So that was awesome. And So God, by the grace of God, go I. That's the only reason why I'm still here. You know, I have a child. God graced me with a child because if I didn't have him, um, you know, I don't believe in suicide or anything like that. I would never harm myself, but I would have given up. I would have died from just giving up because it's a lot. It's a lot to deal with, and especially when you're alone. But then you realize, you know, when you have God in your life, all this has pushed me back to God. And thank God for God, because if I didn't have God, I would feel alone. Um, so I love God. I appreciate Chamesh, which just means the name in Hebrew. So you can say Yahuwah or Yahweh or Yahweh, God, source, creator. Sanam also means sacred name or something like that, which is basically just Hindi for Chamesh. And Chamesh is the Hebrew, which simply translated means the name. Or I am that I am. That's another good one for God. But the Most High. So we're about at a half hour, so I don't want to make this too long. But yeah, I just needed to vent a little bit because, you know, I'm already dealing with enough. I don't want to deal with people's lies and bullshit and the neighbors lying about the pack. So, like, you know, sometimes you need to put people in their place so you can do it respectfully. You don't have to yell or curse. And, you know, if my landlord wants to keep doing that, then I'll just report it to the housing authority, which I like to resolve issues one-on-one with the person that I actually have the issue with. I don't like to go, you know, tattle on people's bosses or, you know, if I'm having an issue with the cashier and they're being rude, I'll say, hey, like, what's with the rudeness? What did I do? Why are you treating me like this? Like, that's a good way to get them into their heart space instead of, you're doing this, you're doing that. Say, why don't you respect me? Why are you treating me like this? And then it forces them to think with their heart instead of their ego mind. Because when you're just accusing, then people go into defense mode, and then they don't hear anything but their own ego saying, attack, 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 defend yourself, defend yourself, defend yourself. So I stayed, you know, to the point. You know, it's like first time, shame on you, second time, shame on me. So it's happened for the second time. So, you know, I texted her and I said, I don't want to have this conversation again. You know, the bag of salt was for liability. I understand that. And I explained to her that I've slipped several times and injured myself and never did anything but, you know, tell them that they need to go clean that up before, you know, an old lady can break their hip or something. Then you really have a liability suit on your hands. I said, I'm not going to sue. I never have. I've had opportunities in the past to do that, and I don't do that. I'm not a vengeful person, and if I need money, God will provide that. I don't need to sue people to get money. I've worked hard my whole life. You know, whether it's school or a job or taking good care of yourself in your home, I work hard at that. I care about being professional. And you can be professional in everything you do, not just something that gives you a paycheck. You be a professional, decent human being. Be a professional human being. So I just needed to respectfully call people out and put them in their place and let them know that, you know, there's rules and you have to respect them. I do. You know, it infringes upon my rights if my landlord doesn't respect the rules. And it's not her rules. You legally, I don't know what other state laws are or whatever, but you can't just drop by unannounced, even if you own the property. If you have tenants renting out that space, you can't just, you know, if you're driving by on the street in your car and you want to check it, you know, that's one thing. You can't really prove, you know, but you can't come onto the property, you know, let alone in the unit, You have to give them 24-hour notice, so you have to have permission to enter if they actually want to come inside the unit. She even asked me, would you be up for an inspection every 6 months? I'm like, that, that's not even legal. First of all, the housing authority doesn't an inspection every 2 years. It used to be every year, but now they do it every 2 years. But that's just to ensure the safety of the tenant and make sure everything's running properly. And because sometimes landlords are more of slumlords than landlords, but they're decent enough. I don't have a problem with them personally, until I have a problem with them personally. Just keep it professional. She's made it clear I'm not her daughter. I'm not, she's not my mother. She's not my friend, because she didn't want to lower the. I had to borrow money for the first time in my life to get a U-Haul because every last dime I had went to that $1,900 deposit. And she didn't want to budge on it. So fine. First time I ever had to borrow money in my life. So, my dad's friend, luckily, the one who sent me my only birthday present that I got. And the neighbors ate the Trader Joe's food. The decent thing would have been, hey, we opened all this stuff. I'm sorry. I'm going to go to Trader Joe's and replace everything we opened. And here's a couple of things that didn't get opened. And there was a book with it. So I have the book, but I'm like, no. And at this point, I wouldn't even trust any unopened stuff. So, her being vengeful because she thought packages came here when it was a different tenant that lived here. And it's just like, people, I'm not the one. Not me. I am not the one. Okay? So, yeah. I'm not the one. I respect and I expect respect. I don't accept anything less than that. Just keep it professional. I don't need people to be nice to me. You don't need to care about me. You don't need to be nice to me, but you'll respect the law. And that's the only thing I'm going by is what the law says. You need to give 24-hour notice. You can't just stop by unannounced. Oh yeah, the thing with the pruning shears, because I'm responsible, because she lowered the rent. She's like, as part of the agreement for lowering the rent, so that I would qualify because of the Section 8 and everything. I'm responsible for keeping the landscaping up, which I do. There's some leaves I need to go rake, but I keep everything looking nice. And so she drops off the pruning shears on the porch, and I have my phone off because of my chronic fatigue. So I have my phone off a lot, and just to save on not having to recharge it all the time. And then when I turn it back on, there's all these texts from her. Did you get the pruning shears? Did you get the pruning shears? Like freaking out over these pruning shears. And I'm like, whoa, first of all, calm down, okay? Second of all, you should have got a hold of me. No, I did see him. I grabbed him and I brought him inside. And I assumed, my landlord must have dropped those off. But that's why, see, it's in her best interest, too, to give me 24-hour notice or make sure you get a hold of me and not just drop by. Because then she started thinking someone might have stolen them off the stairs. Yeah, because we've had issues with people. That's why I offered to buy a fence and pay to get it installed. I'm like, I'll give you all the money I have. I'll pay for it. I'll have my nephew help me put it in. We'll put it in. Oh, no, it's going to look ugly. No, she just felt bad because she had someone on welfare saying they were going to put up a fence to ensure the safety because people kept coming on the property. So they put up a cheap little motion detector light that he just had to repair again because it wasn't working. And a little plastic little flip thing that goes over the utility box to lock it on one of them. It's like they don't want to pay the money for the fence, but then they don't want me to pay for it because then that makes them look like bad guys. I don't care about who looks like what. Look at me. You think I fucking give a fuck about what looks like what? I don't fucking care about looks, okay? And it would have looked nice. How does a fence not look nice? Like nice redwood and that thick hard gauge hardware cloth that you see in a lot of outdoor areas at restaurants and stuff. It looks nice, and they got like nice vines, morning glory grown through it, whatever. Or whatever kind of fence she approved of. The cheap white plastic vinyl fence that she has around the backyard. Let's do that. Whatever. No, she just didn't want to look like a bad person, a cheap person, because someone on welfare is, you know. But I live below my means. I don't have a car. I don't go out to eat. I don't do drugs. So I have money, even though it's only $500 a month. You know, I'm kind of broke in the winter time because of the bills, but I might be able to get some help through this program with PG&E. They helped me out last year, but this year is the last year I'm going to pay this kind of money for these. But $300 a month for a PG&E bill, and then I got to pay internet, water. Thank God I get a free phone, and the water's expensive, and garbage. So I pay all my own bills. Compliments of the United States government. Good, because you're the one who fucking made me sick in the first place. So 10 minutes ago it was at 30 minutes, and I said I didn't want to keep going on too long, so I don't want to make this any longer than it needs to be. I think I said everything I needed to say. I think I got it out. I feel better now. Got tons of baking soda from the Dollar Tree, and it wasn't even $1. They were 57 cents each, I think, and some good German chocolate. Oh my gosh, for $1. Milk chocolate filled with caramel, and then dark chocolate filled with raspberry filling. And it, you know, if anybody who knows chocolate, German chocolate, and I'm not just saying that because I'm German, well, I'm Austrian, half actually, but German chocolate is so good, and it's got real cocoa butter and stuff. It's so good. Anyway, so that was a nice little walk yesterday, even though it made me spot. And I just spotted 2 weeks ago. Sorry, TMI, but whenever I go on a long walk and I'm really sick, I'll start spotting. But it was nice. It wasn't too cold. It was sunny, even though there was chemtrails and stuff. Half the sky was still clear, like that perfectly blue, pristine Tahoe sky. And we live in the foothills, about an hour from Tahoe, so we have a nice, you know, we're not down in the valley near Sacramento where it can be really hazy and disgusting and polluted, but so we should have a nice, beautiful sky all the time. You know, unless it's cloudy or whatever, but so, yeah, just irritated with all the chemtrails. Cleansing and all that stuff can become oppressive when you're constantly, like, you don't even feel like you're eating real food. Because it's just like, you know, you do baking soda cleansing, you're going to have diarrhea, and then you got to deal with every 5 minutes you're getting up and going to the bathroom, and it's just like, got to keep scrubbing the toilet because you explodey the toilet. So it's just like more chores, more cleaning, more getting up when you just want to rest. But I do got to do that again. I got like 24 boxes of baking soda. I would have got more, but that's all I could carry in the stroller little carriage thing under there. So I took like half of what they had on the shelf. I'm sure they had more in the back, and then got a couple little rose candles. So spent $2 in cash because I could get baking soda with my food stamps, and it was only 57 cents a box, and it's like $1.50 at the grocery store. So I saved like $25 right there. And then it was half off at the Salvation Army. And I got these nice little candle holders. And let me show you actually really quick. I just like to share. I'm not trying to show it off. I'm just saying, like, you can get things for so cheap that are really nice. So here's the candle holders. Okay. And they didn't have price tags on them, so she only charged me 50 cents each for those. And then this nice little pottery one, which had $1 on there. And it was half off day, so it was only $1 for all three of those. So I spent $3 in cash and had a glorious day. Went on a beautiful long walk, tried to stay as positive as I could, even though there's planes and everything, chemtrails, but, you know, got a veggie sandwich at Rayleigh's that was, you know, just delicious with hummus and Havarti and tzatziki and roasted red bell peppers and organic, I mean, not organic, but like the fancy lettuce, you know, and lettuce and tomato. Yeah, so that was delicious. And a chili relleno from the deli, because it's, food stamps, you can't buy hot stuff. So they have the hot bar that has like chili rellenos and all that kind of stuff, but they'll have them in the cold deli section sometimes. So I had a beautiful sandwich, chili relleno for dinner with my kombucha, ginger kombucha, the good chocolate from the Dollar Tree. Trying to think what. Yeah, so that was a good day. There was something else I wanted to mention. But, yeah, anyway. Got the borax, got a box of borax from Kmart, so I'm going to start using that. I don't know about internally. I've heard people use it internally. I'm going to have to do some more research on that before I actually do that. But I am going to use it with the laundry soap and put it in there in the laundry and in my bath. So I'll do like a Dead Sea salt bath, then I'll do a baking soda bath, then I'll do a borax bath. And change it up. And I think that's a good thing to do. Then your body doesn't get accustomed to any one thing. You kind of trick it and change it up, and then I think that helps, with the Morgellons, this fungus, and all this stuff that goes along with it. So, yeah, my 2 little rose candles from the Dollar Tree, they smell so good. And it's soy wax, or a blend of soy wax, and it smells just like roses. So I'm going to light some candles, relax. Got my anti-nausea medication from Rayleigh's, the pharmacy there. So we did our little rounds, the little shopping center over there, the Dollar Tree, Rayleigh's. Since I was already... Oh, the coffee, that's what I was going to say. Yeah, because they have Pete's Coffee. And if you get a cold coffee, then you can use your food stamps. And it's Pete's, which I really like. I don't like Starbucks, but I think they have Starbucks in some Safeway, so you can use your food stamp card there, but your EBT. But I really like Pete's, so I got an iced coffee there. So I really felt like a princess and treated myself. And so yeah, I still had a really good day. And I love Jesus, Yahushua Mashiach. So if you have a problem with God, then you have a problem with this channel, and you shouldn't be here. If you have a problem with Jesus, then you have a problem with this channel, and you shouldn't be here. This is not the channel for you. Because if I forget to mention it, I meant to and intended to, and I forgot. But I tried to thank God and Jesus in every video, and I should do it more often. But yeah, I walk with Jesus, and I literally, because I've never had a car, never have, never will, because I care about the environment. I'm not saying other people that have cars. I'm not calling people out. Okay, I'm just sharing my experience. And tarot is not witchcraft; it's a form of divination. Okay, so label. Go ahead, label yourself. Don't label me. Box, go ahead, put yourself in a box. Don't put me in a box. I am who I am. I'll burn that motherfucking box up. I'll rip that label right off. I don't believe in labels. I don't believe in putting people in boxes. We're multidimensional. We're multifaceted. We're complex, beautiful creatures. And I'm all about the light. Okay? But I know the darkness. You can't know God without knowing the devil. Okay? And it's in your best interest to know, because you need to know when those dark forces are coming up against you. And have that discernment to identify what's what and who's who. Because the devil can disguise themselves as someone saying they care about you, and okay? And then God can... sometimes you're like, God, which is which, who's who? Well, because God's always trying to help propel you forward on your path and help you to grow and learn and achieve your goals. So You know, I'm grateful for every hard thing I've ever gone through because I'm in a pretty good place now, I must admit, even with everything that's happening. You know, if I didn't go through all those hard things, I may be in a worse situation. You know, addicted to drugs, or who knows, anyone has the potential to be a drug addict or a murderer, whatever. I'm glad that I've been graced by God to be where I am and be who I am, and even with all the things that I've had to struggle through and the mistakes that I've made, not just what people, you know, have, you know, I hate to say done to me because I don't believe in that. It's all part of the path. It's the dharma. It's the karma. And, you know, what you put in is what you get out. But there's also those times where God puts you through tests and trials to prove that you're worthy. Not worthy of his love, because he loves you anyway. But if you want certain things out of your life, you have to prove yourself worthy. And how are you going to prove that? Well, you have to be put through, you know, those trials and tests, those tribulations. So that's going to be another long one. Oh well, if you don't like long videos and you have a short attention span, oh well, don't watch this video then. If you don't want to hear someone rambling on, don't watch this video then, you know. Maybe I should put that in the titles. If you don't want to hear an hour of me rambling, don't watch this video. That's going to be the title. But yeah, so no matter what's going on in life, there's still beautiful things that you can experience, beautiful people you can meet. They don't need to know everything about chemtrails and Morgellons and this and that to have a beautiful engagement and conversation with them. The kid that, I would say kid, but the dude that was making my sandwich, we had a great conversation and lighthearted, and just, you know, having a sense of humor is very important. Not reading too much into everything is like, you know, good or bad. Like all these like twin flame signs or whatever, they can seem, you know, miraculous, but it's like phenomena is empty, and we need to remember that. That, yeah, okay, be like, you know, oh, cool. You think Jesus performed miracles and resurrections and all this stuff and then stood around in amazement of himself and let everyone keep going on and on and on about how wonderful it was? No, he was just like, you know, rise and walk. Lazarus, come out. You know, he didn't sit around in awe of himself. So we need to remember that phenomena is empty. And I forget where I heard that at. It might have been Sadhguru. It might have been when I was researching Vajrayana, the esoteric Buddhism. I can't remember exactly, but phenomena is empty. So don't get stuck on, you know, good or bad. Synchronicities of being targeted or synchronicities of twin flame stuff. Oh, like I've had some amazing synchronicities when it comes to the twin flame, like finding a book at the food bank and it's dedicated to Evo. That's a very unique name. I've never met anyone with that name but him. And before I even went there, I'm like, I'm going to get a book from the free bookshelf there, and there's going to be a message for me. I can feel it before I even went there. And I didn't say this out loud or anything. I just thought that, and I went there. You know, then when you're at TI, you're just like, well, someone could have, you know, planned to do it. So that's why phenomena is empty, because you don't know. It could be someone tricking you. It could be a sign from God. So that's why you just have to take it with a grain of salt and go on with your life, and on to the next thing, and on to the next thing, and on to the next thing. So, because life's a conveyor belt. It just keeps coming, keeps coming, keeps coming. If you can't get stuck on something, you're going to back up the whole thing. All the equipment's going to start breaking down. People are going to get mad at you. Things are flying off the conveyor belt. So just keep it moving. Keep it moving. Keep it moving. Keep going with the flow. Okay? Just do what needs to get done. And don't get stuck on anything, whether it's positive or negative. And that's why I wanted to make this video and vent and get all this out and you know, text my landlord and let her know how, but you can keep it professional. We don't need to, like, go out in the street and start running around screaming, okay? Just keep it professional. So, all right. We're at 55 right there. So we're going to leave. I'm sorry, it's a long one, you know. If you want to break it up into chunks or whatever, just, you know, it is what it is. So I'm not going to apologize for it. And I love you all. Blessings to you all. And peace be upon you all.